Welcome back to the shop. Today we are back on our chassis build for our 1939 Dodge pickup that I'm building for my goddess. Today we're going to start getting the layout done here to get the K-member bolt holes put down on the frame rails and then figure out what we're going to do to get that mounted. That's the first most important step on this. Once that's done, we can flip this frame over and get rolling on doing layouts for engine mounts and X members and figuring out how we're going to tie in the second part of the frame, which is the back half, because this is only the front half. And well, there's just a lot of stuff to do. So as always, it's about spending the day here in the shop working on whatever I'm working on. We should be working on straightening up the shop, but I'm going to do the right thing and not do that, and we're going to work on the project. I'm Mike, and you're watching My Car Shop. So the first thing I'm noticing is that my K-frame is not lining up with the front of these frame rails exactly where it should. So we're going to get that moved back into position. And yeah, that one lines up good. This one does not. So that means that our frame rails may be a little twisted, or maybe my brain is a little twisted. Probably that. That's better. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So what I want to do is come up with a number here that we're going to probably put this in the mill and machine the holes through where the bolts go through. And I want them exactly in the same spot on both rails. So that starts getting us laid out straight for what we're building here. So I think the quickest way to do this is just get some paint, now that I got this close to being close, and well, let's just do it. So there we go. I got some Krylon. I'm using this because it dries real fast. I don't have any lacquer right now. I like a good rattle can lacquer to do stuff like this, but okay, that will help us with our layout, and we'll see how it'll play out. I'm a poet. You know it. Okay. This is not the K-frame we're using. I'm just using this one for layout. The other one is there. That's another job of work we got to do, is cut all the motor mounts and stuff off of that K-frame. But let's pick this one out of the way. Okay, let's see. So I want to get my measure. Yeah, I can definitely see that things are a little bit twisted, like my brain. Interestingly, I guess, I've not looked at this accurately before. It looks to me, no. So the holes are off. I've got to figure that out because, okay, I get that this wasn't centered, which means my frame rails probably weren't perfectly lined up. But I'm wondering, let's see. Okay, well, that's what's going on. This one here is in, and this one is in. That tells me that the back of the frame might be out some. So let's do a little layout on this and see what it lays out like. So that hole is off just a little bit. That one's way off. So I know that the frame rail needs to change. But I haven't triangulated this. That will tell me how square we are. .101 and 5/8. Definitely we are not square because we are 101 and 3/8. So that's quite a bit of unsquareness, which explains some of this. So, humph. I'm almost positive that the bolt holes on the K-frame are exactly the same. as far as their dimension, but I want to be sure of that. So we need to do something to make ourselves sure of that. So let's pull this up again. This is what you go through when you're hot rod building and you're fabricating, is you just gotta check and recheck everything. Okay, so I'm coming from the outside edge of that hole to the outside edge of that hole, which is 32 1/4. This one I can't do as easily because of that stupid steering box mount, so let's go this way. It looks like 32 1/2. I guess I didn't realize that those were off a little bit. I gotta check a factory blueprint. I think I got one, and let's find out the exact on these mounts. So rather than going and finding my chassis book, which I don't remember what I did with, got it somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I decided to use ChatGPT since this is our AI assisted build in the shop. And what I'm seeing here looks fairly accurate, except it doesn't. It's saying 31.75 inches between the two rear mounting holes, which are these, because I got the K-frame backwards, and the front ones are 31.5. That's lining up with the numbers that I'm seeing here. 31.5, that's the front holes. 31.5, yep, it is. That number I gave earlier was inaccurate. And so this one, it is about 1/8 of an inch more on the backside. So that's normal. But it's also saying the front two rear bolts are 28.5, and it is not. So I'm going to question it on that. You are saying 28.25 between the K-frame bolts, front to back, and that is incorrect. Please recheck that number. Okay, it's thinking. So I just voice texted that in there, and it's, yep, I messed that number up. Sorry about that. See, you gotta, it's still not wrong. It's still not right. It's saying front to rear, center to center spacing on the A-body K-member mounting holes on one side is 26.75. You are incorrect. The number is closer to, drum roll please, 12 inches. Please double check that dimension against the spec. You are annoying today. Okay, it's thinking more. So this is how I use ChatGPT for builds like this. Yep, I was right to call it out. See, it's infantile. Oh, yeah, well, it doesn't have the ability to look that number up right now. It is saying that it's a commonly reported number, that it's about 12 inches. So that's fine. The one thing I was more concerned about is the side to side, and it does prove there's a 1/4 inch of variance. So that's how I use ChatGPT. Usually I'm laying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, not sleeping, brainstorming this stuff. But that's why we call this the AI assisted build. Now I don't use just chat with this. I also use Gemini and Grok. I've got another one called Perplexity, which is a complete piece of crap. Don't like that thing at all. But chat is the one I go to the most because it tends, for one thing, I can build a relationship with it, and it remembers stuff for the most part. Grok, in some ways it gives better information, but I have to remind it all the time of stuff we've talked about in the past. And Gemini flat out does not remember anything. It holds no memory of your previous conversation. So I don't like that because I have to go to it and fill it in all the time on what I'm working on before it can give me an answer. So anyway, that's our few moments of AI input on this. So now I know what the numbers are. I'm going to write those down real quick, and we'll start doing some better layout here. Okay, I just checked my Mopar chassis book, and I don't have the A-body dimensions. All I have is the E-body dimensions, and that's 33 and some change. So I'm going to go with this 3175 because that does line up. I've spent some time triangulating the frame, our outside dimension on the frame. I'm going to write this down, 34 and a half outside to outside. I did the back. So let's see if we're triangulated right now. I squared it up. We should be good. 101 and 7/8. Once we get going on this and the frame is flipped, we're still off. Let's see. Let's make sure that our pieces are the same, because that could be an issue. I didn't check that. 8 foot and 1/8. That could be what our issue is. Nope, they're exactly the same. 8 foot 1/8 of an inch. So what that means is I got to think about this now, because our outside dimension is 34 and a half, and we're 34 and a half down there. That means that we are like this somehow. So I got to think about which way I'm longer and then compensate. So I got to go to my whiteboard and do some cogitating, because I got to visualize. Okay, so if I have two parallel lines from here to here, and I run those lines here and here, the distance from here to here will get longer when the frame goes like this, and this one would get shorter. So you can see how, if this line, I'm exaggerating it, but if this line is like this, then our distance from here to here is going to be longer than from here to here. So that means that because my dimension from here to here is shorter than the distance from here to here, that means my frame rail is exactly what I said. It's tipped that way. So what we need to do is take our frame and just tweak it ever so slightly to split the difference. So I got to remember those numbers. You know them. I can't remember them because I have the attention span of a gnat. We'll get that number, and then we got to split the difference. See what I mean? So yeah, there's a lot of cogitating. Okay, so to double check, and as stupid as this sounds, I'm going to say it anyway. Always use the exact same tape measure for your measurements. Don't use two different ones. Okay, 101, which I wrote down, 101 and 7/8 to this side. And this one was, these are dollar store tape measures. And as long as you're using the same tape measure, this was 102 and a quarter. So basically we need to move our square that way, just a nova. So the easiest way I want to do this is, if I put this down here, I was having problems with it pivoting, and I don't want it to pivot. So let's do, I just knocked myself way out of whack here. Okay, 34 and a quarter. Okay. Yeah, I was having problems with it pivoting a little bit, so. Okay, 34 and a half. Now I'm going to double check my dimension, because I actually changed my square a little bit already. I was planning on doing it down there, but. Okay, we're still at 101 and 7/8. We're still at 102 and a quarter. Something just occurs to me, though. It may not be that they're not square. In fact, I'm quite sure they're not. I bet you the issue is this. Yep. You always got to be thinking in 3 dimensions. Thinking hurts. I'm not good at it. Well, it didn't change it, so it's got to be the square then. Yep. Okay, so I want to make my dimension longer here, which means they both need to go that way just a nova. Okay, let's get that done, and I'll be back. I'm not going to sit here and waste all your time on all of that. I got to make sure this is square across, and we'll do that in a minute, but I want to try to get my rails parallel. We are at 102 and a 16th right now, so we're good. Now let's get our K-frame again. Get it up on there. Make sure that we have it copacetic and not so pathetic. So this is the driver's side over here because it's upside down. And we're going to put this towards the front, line it up perfectly. And put this towards the front, line it up perfectly. Okay. I feel like we're not doing real well here. So I think what I want to do is put a center line down this. Okay, we're getting close. Yeah, we're pretty close. Okay, so that's inboard a little bit. And I said see, the back should be wider. This isn't adding up to me. And this is the front of the K-frame. So I'm wondering if chat was wrong on that number. I don't think so, though, because I measured the 1 and it was correct. Okay, that is the front right there. 32 and 3/8. Yeah, those numbers were not correct from chat. And that one's about 32. 32 and a quarter. That's why you got to check this crap. $32 and a quarter. $32 and a quarter. Interesting. I got to check some more numbers. I'll be back. All right, very cool. I've got it sorted. So I went and found my square. I had it really close, but my back holes weren't lining up. I did go find a chassis drawing, and from everything I can see, the K-frame holes are square. So they're going to fall where they fall. I'm not going to worry about it, but I was seeing my rails were still off here, so I used this, and we are square now. And when I move this over, we're square now, 100%. According to the chassis, center to center is 32.2, so basically 32 and a quarter. So I'm going to measure from here to the center line over there, adding an inch, and that should be 33 and a quarter, which it's right on the money. So, because I did a center line. So I'm going to take my marks off again. The front ones I think are, well, the front ones are not okay because I didn't get them dimensioned properly this way. So I want to wipe those off again, draw new center lines, and then put the K-frame back up on there again and lay it out. So This is when you're starting with the foundation of a chassis, this is normal. It's mission critical. It's everything has to be check, check, recheck, check, check, recheck, check, check, recheck. Especially right now because it's upside down. I'm not welding stuff down to the table yet to get things exactly where it needs to be. I'm not worried about this way so much, although I've already checked these rails and they're pretty level because the table is really level. So, cross measuring, measuring the ends. Of course, I found the blueprint, so I know, even though we're not building a Duster chassis, it's a Duster K-frame, so we know that these bolts are on center at 32.20. I'm just putting it at 32 and a quarter because the factory spec is plus or minus an eighth, right? So that gives us a lot of wiggle room, and I want those to be right in the center here and here, but I know I'm off this way a little bit by about 3/16 of an inch, probably. No, smaller than that. See, 4/16 is a quarter. Yeah, probably 3/16. So I'm going to wipe that off, redraw my center lines, and then lay the K-frame up again. Or maybe what I'm going to do is, rather than doing it that way, I'm going to just square it with a square and draw it where I want it to be. That's probably the better way to go. Then lay the K-frame up on there. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. It's all about thinking it through and processing and taking your time. I've been at this for quite a while, and I'm not hardly even started yet. We may not get any mechanical, physical work done. This layout may just be all this episode is about. It's mission critical. I can't say that enough. All right, here's what we got. So that one's lined up good. That one's lined up good. This one's lined up good. This one's lined up good. So, yeah, it's been a job of work. And here's my blueprint, which I got all my dimensions off of. I did go in and find one. So that gave me the numbers that I needed to be able to do the job. So that's going up with tape on the board for the future reference. I should take that and get it blown up bigger, but that would require me printing something and then going to the city and getting it from like Staples or something. So yeah, just as a final check, I used this piece here as a to make things square like a toilet. And oh yeah, you probably don't know that phrase. It's my play on flush like a toilet. So anyway, so it's good. So we can go ahead and get our machined bits in here. I don't know what time it is. Yeah, it's pushing 6 o'clock. I don't know if I have time to do that today, but yeah, the next thing we need to do, we need to go over that with you. We need to strip this K-frame back down, get the steering box and the steering linkage off of it, and cut all those motor mounts and stuff off of there. Yeah, let's get it out and get it up on a fender stand and we'll get the box off of it first. But yeah, we can strip. It actually just surprised me. I did not know that was going to clear. So we're going to take our test frame off. We're going to move it over here and take our real frame and make sure everything is copacetic and nothing is so pathetic. Yep, plenty of room. Our motor mounts clear, everything good. There we go. There. Perfect. I can tell you that other K-frame is mucked up a little bit. No surprise. It's pretty rusty. This one's lining up much better. Much better. Much, much better. Yeah, I think we're going to be good there. The spec on these bolts, if I remember right, GD&T would give us a lot more latitude than this, and I'm kind of looking at it through those eyes. But we're pretty respectable here. So if I put these nuts in, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Oh, the other thing I don't know is this frame rail may have moved just a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I just about guarantee it did because I was moving stuff around here pretty good. So I lost my tapeworm. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It was off about 3/16 of an inch. So we're lined up good here. We're good there. We're good there, and we're good there. So we can plunge our holes through there. And I've got the nuts to put on the inside that I mentioned before. And I really think the way to do this is get big washers that'll fit in here. Can't be too big, I guess. The front ones are no big deal. I can reach those. But I got to get nuts back in here. I don't want to... I don't want to cut the frame, like cut a slot in the frame here because that becomes a weak point. Is it going to be a real problem? No, but I'm putting my goddess in this truck. I'm building this for her, and so I'm going overboard on safety. So what I can do, though, is find some kind of a device that I can that up in there, and then I'll have a couple of plug weld holes around there, probably 4 of them, with the washer, and of course, once it's bolted on there, it's not going anywhere anyway. So we should be fine that way. I think that's the best way to go on this. So cool. All right, let's wrap this up. Again, so just so you see, we're good. We're good. Things are off just a little Nova, but it's just more that I didn't take the time to line everything up perfect. So yes, we're going to be fine. So here's where we're at. Here's what we got to do, and here's what's coming. I'm going to sit on it. Not like Potsy. I'm going to sit on it for 24 hours until I can get back out here again tomorrow in the evening. I want to think about it. I want to recheck everything tomorrow, check all the squareness. If that's good, then we will get things fixtured up in the mill to... we probably don't have to do it in the mill, but it's 1/2 inch holes, bigger than 1/2 inch. We'll see. We may just do it manually here. The more I'm thinking about it. See, that's why I need 24 hours. I got to think about it. But we'll double check everything. We'll check all of our dimensions and check all of our fitment, and it'll be a winner chicken dinner. So that's going to do it for this one. As always, it's about spending the day here in the shop. I really wanted to share the tedium of laying out the frame rails and how you got to go. Now, this is different because we're using a Mopar K-frame. That's not necessarily what a lot of people would do. That's what we're doing. But we want to get this laid out so that we can flip it over and start getting things trued and squared and level, and then figure out where the motor's got to go, which we kind of did a 19-inch back set, but we got to figure out the motor mounts and then where that's going to land with the transmission cross member, and then where we're going to put the X member in the frame for support, and where there's going to be other cross members, and there's going to be a lot of stuff. So that'll do it for this one. Drop your thoughts, drop your criticism if you want, as long as you're nice about it, down there in the comments. Your suggestions are always appreciated. And oh yeah, we have channel memberships for as little as $5 a month. Thank you so much to all of our members who make this possible. It's a real blessing to me, and you have no idea the difference it makes. And one more thing, because it's the most important thing here at My Car Shop.